We need it. Oxygen. It's why we breathe.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Grit Files. I am your hostess with the mostest. I am Loralyn Mears here with Dr. Brenda Boston. And we're going to learn all today, all kinds of things about her philanthropic work with the Barney Boston Foundation. We're going to dig into how that all got started and what she is dedicating her time and her space and her energy to. So with that, let me give a wonderful welcome to Dr. Boston.
Thank you, Loralyn. To your listening audience, I'm Dr. Brenda Boston Hudson from the Barney Boston Scholarship Foundation. We're live here in beautiful, sunny Jacksonville, Florida. Hello, everyone.
And it's always sunny in Florida, right? Or is that it's always sunny in Philadelphia, as they say, that show that we all loved?
Yes, indeed.
And
Thank you for having me.
well, we always want to learn about what other people are doing and the contributions you're making to the community. So let's maybe roll back a bit. Talk to us about how this foundation was established, the story behind it, and share with our listeners what you're doing to move it forward. Because it's been around for a long time and you've made significant contributions to, I know, another guest that we had on our podcast previously, Brilli Semenova. You've contributed to her master's education. So, and she's a person with special needs. And so you do a lot of things. So roll it back. Talk to us about how the foundation got started and what you do.
Absolutely. The foundation was founded by Dr. Barney Boston, who is my mom. She passed away, but prior to that, she wanted to leave a legacy. She was an educator. She was an advocate for education and had such an impact on not only the 6 siblings here in our home, but also the community. Prior to mom's death, in her creating her legacy, the foundation was born. I co founded, I retired, came home to take care of both she and dad. In 2015, the foundation was created in 2016. At that particular time, she pulled a team together while I was completing my doctorate, and she founded the foundation. She wanted to leave a legacy of philanthropy, giving back to youngsters who wanted to go to college, needed financial assistance to go to college, and she wrote those very first checks. After she passed in 2019, Dr. Brenda Boston picked up the baton to continue her legacy. Our mission and our cause continues because of the embeddedness that Dr. Marie Boston put on education as the number one goal in all of our lives. So that's how the foundation was born. We are in our 7th year, and a lot has happened in 7 years, Loralyn. We have sent 35 plus students to college nationwide. And yes, one of our very dear residents, and I won't call her name, but she knows who she is. We love her dearly. She's attending Pennsylvania State as a graduate student, will be graduating very, very soon. And we love them all. They are on an educational journey, and there's mentoring in place for them. We keep in contact with them every month. They report how they're doing, what those needs are. We support them in every aspect of their educational journey.
So let's talk about that level of accountability in that closed loop, because this is something that you don't often see. When it's a scholarship, it's kind of a one and done, right? Congratulations, woohoo, you get the paper, you get the check, onward you go. The grant, there's often the responsibility where you got to come back and report on how you use the monies and the impact that you made. Okay, fair enough. But this is whole like next level that you're doing, Brenda, in having the conversations monthly, creating that support network, that mentorship. So talk to us about where that idea came from.
That idea came, Loralyn, from my mom making sure that with sustainability comes accountability. These youngsters, knowingly, when they come through the application process is in stages. They actually go on to the website. The application is electronic. They complete it. They attach the attachments that are requested. The volunteer board of directors are involved. They score them, they evaluate them, and then we call them in. Those recipients that have met eligibility, they are called in. We meet them because we don't know who they are. It's just paperwork that they send in to us. But we meet them virtually and we talk to them, interview them, let them know what the expectations are. They sign a contract. Would you believe they sign a contract with the foundation in order to participate? It's not just giving them the check and they go off on their own, but that accountability is you're mandated to take mentoring the program. You're mandated to contact your assigned board of director who is your mentor. The mentees actually are interviewed. We get a sense of whom we're dealing with, where they're going to be attending. Did you go on tour? Do you know where you're going? Many of them are underserved, under-resourced, and no, they have not been on the campus where they're going to spend the next 4 years. So we make sure that that happens. So yes, the bar has been raised. Why? Because we're in a new era. We have to teach these youngsters what's expected of them and demonstrate to them through leadership, development, what needs to be done, and get a signed contract that they are going to adhere to the regulations with the foundation.
So I like that. Again, it just really enforces that credibility, that accountability. And I think it also sets the youth up that you're supporting for greater success, because this is how the world works. You don't just
That's
stick
right.
your hand out and go, hey, give me a check, right?
That's
You
right.
have obligations and there's a whole process to it. Review a contract, sign a contract, commit to whatever the terms and conditions are within the contract.
That's
These are
right.
all learning experiences in of themselves. So let's get into some of the emotional stuff behind this, because it's the grit files. It's not the, hey, everything's working perfectly files, right? So let's dig in. Presumably, after your mom passed, that was probably a very challenging time for you.
And it
And
was.
so one of the things that our guests always share with our listeners is what they do to get through those dark days, those tough times.
Those tough times, those dark days when we have not met our ultimate financial goals, those board of directors, we interact consistently, weekly, sometime every other day, to talk about those weakened areas and how we can strengthen them. We all go through periods of unrest with family struggles. It's not just the students, it's us as well. How do we assist each other? By communicating and building stronger relationships. Some of the board members I've known since childhood. And even after I moved away from Jacksonville, they still kept in touch with not only me, but mom as well. And they came and checked on her and then reported back to me. So those are the type relationships that the board of directors have with each other. And we're demonstrating that to these recipients. And the recipients are actually observing what life really is. Even through tough times, we can really get through it if we compile together.
That's just it. It's the COM word, right? And we're not talking commerce. We're talking community.
That's
We're
right.
talking, right? Communication.
Yes.
This is the kind of
Yes.
thing that's critical that so many people, I think, particularly in the younger generation, well, here's my soapbox, that they default to just texting. And texting is flat. Yes, you can add emojis and GIFs and make it a little more interesting, but basically it's a flat form of communication. It doesn't allow for the nuance, the body
Yes.
language, the contextual richness
Yes.
that comes from a face-to-face conversation, or to a lesser degree to a virtual video conference like we're doing on
Yes.
a Zoom
Yes.
conversation. And that's a bit of a lost art. So I think it's really good for people to see that as an example about the kinds of things that you can have, the experiences through communication, through staying in contact, and just building those long-lasting relationships, right? Building them based on
That's
foundations
right.
of trust, honesty, integrity, all the good stuff that rolls glibly off our tongues, but it's really hard to put to practice. But when you do, you get lifers. Like I'm really
Yes.
lucky. I've got friends that we've been friends since junior kindergarten, and we've lived
Yes.
in separate countries forever, but we're still friends.
That's right. And I'd like for your listening audience to know that the very first check that mom wrote to a student, a recipient, the very first check, that young man graduated last May. And would you believe, Loralyn, he has returned to the foundation and is being mentored as a board member. And the vision for him is to sit on a corporate board. He's in corporate America now. And what a wonderful, wonderful feeling that our purpose is being fulfilled. Seeing these youngsters go out on their own and they can fly like an eagle. And that was my mom's purpose with creating this foundation.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Now, okay, this is one of my favorite questions.
Sure.
Got my little, for the audience that can't see it here, I've got my little undo button. So Brenda, if you hit this once, what one thing in your life would you undo?
What one thing, Loralyn, in my life would I undo? I don't know whether I can think of anything in my life to undo. I think what I would do is what I've done in the past, build upon every segment. Just keep building because building is growth. And that's all I know, how to just keep it layered, just keep building from day to day with not only these youngsters, but the community around me, my friends, my family, and most importantly, even the younger ones. Right now in this community, we are focused on following youngsters from K through completion of college. That's what we're envisioning. It starts from cradle and continual education goes through death. It's a continuum. Every day is a continuum, something we can learn from each other. I'm glad that I met you. I'm glad that I'm able to connect you with my network. That's what life is all about.
Oh, bingo, bingo to all of that. I'm a lifelong learner too. And just what I've learned in this whole podcasting thing. I mean, that's, insert
Yes,
mind-blowing emoji. Never mind all of the other stuff, right? Like setting up a tech company,
yes,
details.
yes, yes.
So, so that's the answer that we most often get from our guests. I'm like, I don't change anything. Like it's made me who I am and all of this. Now, let's put it back to the listeners. We're going to give them some advice, or you're going to give them some advice to be more specific. But before we do that, who are you hoping is listening right now? What types of listeners, what types of backgrounds, educations, like demographics, anything that you want to share and say, hey, listeners, if you're a blah, 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 I really hope that you're tuned into this because then you're going to direct your advice to them. So
Hey,
who do you hope's listening?
listeners. Yes. Hey, listeners. If you're nationwide and even international, the Marie Barney Boston Scholarship Foundation will find you. We are licensed in many, many states. Here in the US, we are able to solicit funding for these youngsters. And these youngsters really needs your support. If indeed your passion for education is similar to ours, we'd love to have you partner with the Marie Barney Boston Scholarship Foundation. We are located on the website. You can learn more about us. You can contact me. My website is www.mariebbsf.org. You can contact me. I'll immediately contact you back. And we will continue this journey, this educational journey, not only for ourselves, but these young people. So come along and help us. Thank you.
Let's repeat that website if you would please, Brenda, and just say it really slowly one more time. And then I'd like you to give some advice to our listeners.
Sure. The website address is www.mariebbsf.org. Advice? Let's talk about a little bit of advice. We here at the Marie Barney Boston Scholarship Foundation, we are passionate about education, about young people, about their families, about their siblings. And the advice that I would give you today is tap into someone, encourage someone, let them know that you're there for them, that you'd love to build a relationship more so than what you've done in the past, and that these are the purposes that we live each day, and make someone smile.
And for those of you that can't see through the podcast audio waves, wherever you are streaming this, I am smiling. So, Brenda, you have achieved your today's objective. You have made someone smile, and that is me. So, thank you for that smile. I have another question. You've been on this journey for more than 7 years now. How have you changed?
I have changed in many facets. First of all, I've always been a socialite. I've always been eager to meet folks. Living in New York, we lived in a diverse community, and learning from each other is so important to me. Why? Because that's how we move from tier to tier, by learning what you like, learning what I like. Why do I do what I do? Because we interact and can learn so much from each other. These are components, pillows of life that each day we're to put in practice. Loralyn, I'm so happy that I met you. I'm so happy to be on your podcast. And I'm thrilled that folks that have never known who we are can listen to us. This may not be the first podcast. You can certainly reach out and I will come again. Thank you, everyone.
Well, we'd love to have you. Said like that's one of the things that I actually haven't done a very good job on, to be honest, is the follow up and saying, hey, a year later or 2 years later, hey, podcast guest, how has your life changed? Right. I know it's that's a note to self. It's on the to-do list, which continues to, grow out of
Sure,
control.
sure.
Yeah. One last question before we get into the final bring it home question. What's your kryptonite? What takes you out at the knees, Brenda?
To hear my grandchildren say to grandma, we are so proud of what you're doing. I want to be just like my grandmother. And you know why that cripped me at my knees? Because I looked at my grandmothers and I looked at my mom and my dad, and I always told them, I'm going to be just like you. Why? Because they brought so much energy to the table and they demonstrated and taught us, and we were happy to gather around the dinner table and talk about our day. It just makes me so happy that I can see the end of the tunnel and what the hard work has produced in all generations around me. That trips me at my knees because I can sometimes just involuntarily tear from my eye because I'm so happy.
Oh, that's just so beautiful. And you're right. I don't want to get on another soapbox here. We've lost the art again, this communication where we sit at the dinner table together. I know there was recently a survey done. Some kids that I know were involved. Less than 1% of the kids in the class said that they had dinner once a week with their families.
Wow.
It's just, wow, it's an opportunity lost. And so any listeners out there, any chance you get, call a parent, call a guardian, call an auntie, and just connect. Bring a friend over,
Yes.
do a Friendsgiving, even if it's July, who cares, right?
Yes.
Just have that connection. Food, music,
Yes.
it just brings us together, transcends
Yes.
cultures, transcends grief and opportunities and all
Yes.
kinds of things. All right. Last question, Brenda. We're going to bring it home. If this is the signature question of the Grit Files, if we looked into your closet, and for those of you that are not dialed into the video experience here, Brenda is fully decked out with beautiful earrings and necklace matching her, looks like maybe a dress or top. It's beautiful, kind of a pastel yellowy gold
Thank
color,
you.
goldenrod. It's beautiful. So I'm expecting there's going to be something fancy here. The question is, if we looked into your closet and there was a pair of shoes, boots, sandals, some sort of footwear that represented Dr. Brenda Boston, your personality, who you are, your energy, what are we looking at in your closet? Describe them.
You are looking at a 4-inch heel, satin with rhinestones.
Oh, I love it. And tell us why. Why does that represent you?
It represents me because I can no longer wear the 4-inch heels anymore. So I come down a bit to protect my alignment of my back, but I'm still sparky. I love those rhinestones because they spark like my heart.
Oh, I love that. I'm a glitter girl. Like everything I have is glitter. It's a thing. I mean, I'm glittering now. I've got glitter on my watch band. I mean,
Yes.
I'm all about glitter. It's just, that's the way to go.
Yes.
All right. So with that, this is a wrap. So Dr. Brenda Boston, co-founder and executor of the Dr. Marie Brenda Boston Foundation. Want to say thank you so much. And for any listeners who are out there, if education is your thing, please check out the website and sponsor a person going through college if you can. So thank you so much, Brenda. We're so
You're
glad you were
so
on the show.
welcome. Thank you, Loralyn. And thank you to your listening audience.
Don't forget to follow me, your host, Loralyn Mears, everywhere on social media. And how about throwing 4 or 5 stars our way if you're listening to Apple or Spotify? Subscribe to our show. And how about that fantastic intro by Touch Circle?